Hey guys, this video is about defining emerging markets. We'll focus on the characteristics of emerging markets and the changes in definition of modern emerging markets. The term emerging markets was created in 1980. The traditional emerging market refers to the developing countries, regions that provide opportunities for investors. Its two most important features are low income and high growth. Low income means that the gross national product of a country or region does not reach the level of high-income countries designated by the World Bank. It is precisely because of the cheap labor force, low cost, and low domestic demand brought by low income that provides the impetus for high growth. At the same time, many banks and economic organizations from the world have also developed a series of index calculation methods for defining emerging markets. It can be said that as long as a country economy satisfies the given parameters after calculation, it can be defined as an emerging market. It is interesting that we can find in many relevant documents description in China that emerging markets are specifically defined as stock market or energy market of developing countries. This because whether developed markets can profit from emerging markets is an important criterion for defining emerging markets. Stock and energy market exactly are the two main bodies that enable developed countries to make profits in developing countries. It can be said that with these two things, market a country has entered an emerging market. This kind of emerging markets have the following four features. As I mentioned before, the high growth bring high returns that investors value most. Of high returns in the stock market are caused by regulatory barriers such as insufficient pricing, over-regulation, and unprofessional analysis. The regulatory system in emerging markets is very immature. The second is anti-economic cycle. The fiscal and monetary policies of emerging countries are quite different from those of Western developed countries. When active economic cycle occur in developed market, investment in emerging markets can effectively offset these effects. From this chart, we can see that China's stock market is very dependent on foreign capital. The internal economic volume of an emerging market is very limited. They need the help of foreign capital to achieve continuous expansion and maintain their emerging status. It's also because the internal investors in emerging markets are generally immature and there are many speculators. So, it gives professional investors from external a lot of operating space and advantages, allowing them to take most of value from emerging markets. Actually, according to reliable data, from 2015 to 2020, foreign investors made a total net profit of $120 billion in China's A shares. Similarly, capitalistic countries also benefit a lot from Brazil's cheap oil. However, the situation has a great change from the birth of emerging markets to the nowadays. Emerging markets are more preferred to markets with gradually improved economic system, higher development speed, and greater development potential. Emerging markets have turned in a remarkable growth performance in those decades. Even the advanced industry economics were at best plodding along. Especially after the financial crisis, emerging economics has withstood the external financial storm and demonstrate unexpected strength and restorability. This is because the exchange rate of modern emerging markets are very flexible, and they have established huge foreign exchange reserves. Their foreign currency debates are also very limited, which makes their macroeconomic fundamentals very stable. This sparked a new conventional wisdom that emerging markets can be self-sufficient and decoupled from economic circles in industrial countries. On the other hand, the connection between emerging markets and the world is stronger than before. In 2018, emerging markets accounted for 59% of the global gross domestic product, which means that the emerging markets have become the main force of the global market and have a very important impact on the global economy. For example, the sharp drop in the Shanghai stock market will make effect on Wall Street. It can be said that emerging economics as a whole have become stronger and more stable, more mature, that share equal standing with those developed markets. Just as Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said, emerging markets and developing countries have gradually changed from a global governance follower to a conscientious promoter. However, in the post-epidemic era, the world economic structure is changing in a major way, and their results are totally unpredictable. Perhaps one day, the definition of emerging markets will no longer exist or completely changed. Well, it seems this is all. I hope this short video can help you better understand the definition of emerging markets, and welcome to your criticism.